Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
It's playoffs, baby. Welcome to this week's episode of the Iron Hour podcast. As always, it's hosted by myself, Barra. I'm joined this morning, whenever you're listening, by Marco, one of our regular panelists. Good day, Marco.
Good evening. My bobble hat with bells on. The playoff. It's ready.
Jester hat,
Stood it
yeah.
off.
The Jester hats and the wigs.
Jester hat. That's the one. No, really excited. Look, we're privileged to be in this position. A lot of us predicted playoffs, but it's finally here now. So yeah, let's get on with it.
And speaking of Jester hats, let's go over to the class clown.
Me.
How you doing, Gaz?
I'm very well, thank you. Really good. Was down at the ground earlier today, and it just felt really good.
Schmoozing, networking.
No, just getting Dylan's ticket because he's too
Not,
lazy
not
to get
no
himself.
videos. Not in
I
any
was just
videos.
about to say, not another video.
Oh, speaking of which, I'll tell you what, while we're on, I'm going to change Gareth's name to the prominent fan. What was it? Prominent Iron fan. Have some of that. Straight down your gullet. Right.
It's been called worse.
Yeah.
Recently.
Right.
Recently.
Can we talk football? I mean, I want to top load this with the playoffs, really, and with so much to get through, I think we're going to struggle to keep this to the Iron Hour podcast. It might be more like the Iron Hour and 10, as it sometimes is. Let's quickly touch base, Gareth, and have a look at Saturday's game against Hereford. Going into that fixture, of course, we were in third.
Yeah.
With about, I would say, a 1% chance of winning the league and probably a 10 to 15% chance of finishing second. Well, as luck would have it, we did in fact finish second and riding the crest of a wave now.
Yeah. What? Yeah, definitely. I think we know that we needed to turn up after the Kings Lynn game. There was lots of downheartedness and stuff like that, but at Hereford we actually turned up and performed, and we were on it from the go. And it was just so good to see it. But I say so good to see, but so frustrating as well, because we can do it, and you just think back to games that we've not done it, and it's just But not just us, but Southport did their bit as well. There was obviously eyes on other games, and after Brackley scored, after how many minutes it was, you knew that there was no chance of going top, finishing top. But to finish second, amazing, absolutely amazing.
I was going to chuck it out there that I have it on good authority. Bill Brown may have damaged the Southport dugout. Just chuck that one out there.
Well, it may have done. He may have done.
That's what the vicious online rumours suggest.
Well, I want to see pictures. I've searched.
Yeah, I know, but surely eyewitnesses are more believable than any old Twitter AI nonsense.
Well, very true. Very true.
Right, let's just quickly stick with that game. I mean, Carlton getting a phenomenal goal, actually, Gareth. How impressive was he?
It was really good. He seemed really up for it, and like say that goal that he took, as he's running, you're thinking, oh no, he's gone too far, but then he just knocks it in with his left foot.
Yeah, you think he's going to take that on his right?
Yeah. It looks that way when the ball's played through to him. He thinks he's going to hit it with his right, but he just took that moment. And I think the keeper thought the same, in all fairness. And he's just bamboozled everybody. And to see it go in, absolutely amazing. But yeah, really good finish. Really good.
Just a couple of standout players, the big names that are getting applauded. So Michael Clunan and Will Evans.
Will Evans was solid again. Really solid. A couple of saves by Fitzsimmons, Clunan, yeah. They all turned up. They all put a performance in. Every player, even the substitutes that came on. Everyone was up for it, and that's what we need going into the playoffs as well. We need that, in the next hopefully 2 games as well. That everybody's up for it and on the ball.
Right, Marco, I can see you're chomping at the bit to get a word in edgeways. So this year, it just feels different, doesn't it?
It does feel a little bit different. And look, like Gareth just alluded on there, things seem to go our way on Saturday. I think even the most optimistic Iron fan knew Brackley weren't losing to Farsley, or even drawing for that matter. Kidderminster was a surprise, but look, it does seem to be coming together or falling into place. It does. And look, it's the hope that kills you. Will we be saying this Saturday afternoon after the game? Who knows? But yeah, it does feel different. I feel Gareth just mentioned Will Evans. I mean, how good has he been since coming into the squad? Like, if we do go up this year, a lot of it is down to him. He's been colossus, but
You wouldn't have said that, would you? I mean,
No.
15 games ago, he could not get a look in until
No,
Boyce
but
got suspension.
and look, it's the definition of taking your chances because Boyce did no wrong, and still has a very good claim to be playing week in week out. But you just cannot drop Will Evans on his form. He's an absolute giant, and he plays like that. I mean, I know I did something on Twitter the other day, my 3 players of the year, but if we get promoted, I think a lot of it, like I say, is down to him coming into that defence. It's been fantastic.
I've got a theory, Marco, that it almost feels we're riding the crest of a wave. The momentum we've got feels as though we'd made the playoffs on the last day of the season because of the fact that we were going into it in third. And actually, to achieve second it feels like we've achieved something with that last game, and we had to scrap for it. We had to put our bodies on the line. Probably one of the best defensive performances we've put in this season. I don't know. It just my take is it feels like we've come into it like we did against Tranmere.
Yeah, 100%. And look, we've beat a team that would have had a huge stake to be in the playoffs, and we've gone to their ground and beat them and kept a clean sheet. And I think that's a huge statement. And I mean, look, playing a team like that who had to win to have any chance of the playoffs, they're the tough ones. They're the ones you don't want to be playing towards the end of the season if there's something riding of it. So look, to go there and get that clean sheet and get the result, and then obviously Southport doing us a huge favour. Like you said, it's hard not to believe. But look, we've been here before. We've been in this position before. And I know it's a great advantage coming second. We've seen the other teams playing this week. But it doesn't always work out that way. So we do have to just keep our heads level. I don't doubt for 1 second that Butler isn't letting anybody get carried away. And look, let's see what Saturday brings. It's going to be a full house. It's going to be bouncing. Even the naughty corners are open. Look, it's going to be brilliant. And if the lads can't respond to that, then they're in the wrong game.
As it's mad, isn't it, that this is just one game. There's just one game between how we felt after the Peterborough Sports match and how we feel now. Isn't it crazy? Because even the most optimistic Iron fan, I'm thinking of you, Robert, on Twitter, even the most optimistic Iron fan would surely be thinking after that Peterborough Sports game at home, yeah, we've won 5-0, but we've lost our momentum. We've given up the chance of winning the league. But I don't know, just the way Saturday unfolded just gives a whole new perspective.
I think it lifted everybody to see that we finished second. As a huge boost because I don't want to curse this, but we look so good at home. We look so comfortable at home playing in front of the big crowds. There was a time that we used to worry about playing in front of a big crowd and not performing. And of late we've performed in front of big crowds. There's a lot of expectation on Saturday's game, but I think we've got the players to deal with that. At home, they know what they're doing. They know what the pitch is like. We've just got to go into it on the front foot from the off. Surely we'll deserve some respect, but we've just got to play our game.
We've got so much correspondence to get through this week. I think this is probably the week where we've had the most interaction from fans. So I'm going to try and read out as much as I can. A lot of it maybe isn't necessarily questions or talking points. A lot of it is just fans wanting to get in touch and saying how they're feeling. So let's try and get through as much as we can. I'll kick off with this message, which we had into our inbox from Chris Owen. Chris Owen obviously lives out in Germany. Great listener, great guy. Listens to the pod every week. He says, great listener, fantastic age.
You should see it. He's got a cracking set of ears.
So Chris Owen has been in touch and he says, let me start by saying what a great job the lads are doing on the podcast. For people like me living outside the country, it's our lifeline to the club and it's much appreciated. But watching from afar, I have to ask, is it really acceptable that we're only in the playoffs? With the quality in this squad, we really should have romped the league. I understand Brackley have been promoted, but with an average crowd of under 900, it makes you wonder. Surely this comes down to poor management of the team, or does it? Would like to hear your thoughts. Keep up the great work. So that's an interesting perspective because that probably paints a different picture, Marco, to what I've been saying about the optimism around where we are right now.
Yeah, and I mean that statement. Thank you for the message. It's not the only one to say they're not close to Scunthorpe and we have a lifeline, so we really do appreciate that. But look, that statement he's made would be true if football was on paper. And it's just not. There's so much wrong that can go wrong and change throughout a season. I mean, look, anybody at the start of the season, just going forward with favourites. On paper, we do have the best squad. But look, that doesn't go into what's happening on behind the scenes. Obviously, the pitch. There's so much more that goes into day-to-day football running of a football club. And look, and I think the results have reflected that. There's no Tamworth this year, so I did think we'd have maybe more of a chance. But no, take nothing away from Brackley. The league was there to be won, and we have lost it against the poor opposition. So look, Chris makes a really good point. With the squad, we should be first. But no team has a right in this league to go and win it just because of the best squad on paper. It's all about that one on grass. And look, a lot of the say lesser teams, Brackley are a lesser team. There's no denying that with 900 average at home. But they have players that are made for this league and cut out for this league. Whereas sometimes, especially away ones, e.g. your Radcliffe's and obviously Kings Lids, we've just not had that nous and cutting edge about us. So no, really good question. But yeah, look, no one has a right to win this league.
That's Drury's been in touch. This is Dorset Iron. He says, no nerves. Last season we finished second and 8 points off automatic, losing on pens in the semi-final. This season we finished second and only 2 points off the automatic promotion spot. So it could be viewed as an improvement. Well, it is an improvement. It's an improvement by 2 points, isn't it? Because we got 88 points last season. We've got 90 this season. He goes on to say, an improvement in the semi-final on Saturday will be to win. And win in the 90 minutes. I'm going for a 3-1 win up the Iron. Paul Hayes, not that Paul Hayes, I'm afraid, has been in touch to say, let's be honest, playoffs can be a lottery, but as negative as a support group most are, in honesty, if you were a Chorley or a Kidderminster Chester fan, would you, with our home record, relish the opportunity to come to Glanford Park? Surely this season it's the time to be positive. We have the quality. Let's show some belief. Sorry, I sounded like I was having a stroke when I was reading that one out. Apologies, listener. Thanks for sticking with us. Positivity Dave has been in touch and he says, no nerves. We should have beat them home and away. Watched a few of their games, and Hall and Carr are a couple of decent players for Chorley, but I know the boys will be really up for it, as will the crowd, and they will carry us to a 2-1 victory. That's an interesting one there. I'm going to pose this question to you, Gareth. Colin Lowe has been in touch and he says, would it be that bad if we stay down? Maybe a rethink professional wise, but our support would/should be glad we have a club and games to go to. But I am also optimistic either way.
I think, we'll always be grateful that we've got a club, but I do think we need to go up personally. Just for the club's benefit as well. I don't think, I'm not going to say we're going to be up in the upper echelons if we do go up, playoff places or anything like that. I think we might struggle depending on the calibre of play we bring in. But I might just real quick, am I breaking up? Because it sounds really dodgy.
It's not terrible. Keep going. This is elite level podcasting.
No, it's fine. No, I can just hear a bit of back feedback.
To be fair, believe it or not, it's better if you're a little bit further away.
Yeah.
Is it?
Maybe not that extreme.
Keep going back.
Yeah, keep going
back into the garden, mate.
To the cupboard. So I'd say hopefully the crowds don't drop off. Inevitably, they probably would if we weren't up in the upper echelons. But I think we'll get more away fans in as well, which could negate that.
There's a bit of Sylvester. Thucker Dash.
But no, I think if we get the opportunity to go up. I don't think we need to be staying down, because the longer we stay down, and the teams coming into the league, the Macclesfields, the Files, they've got the money, and so I don't want to be playing them next season.
No, quite right. Martin Wilson says we just need to turn up for this one, and the lads put in a proper shift. No repeat of the Kings Lynn game. Well, on that actually, Marco, let's talk about that, because the Kings Lynn game, I mean, I know we have a difference of opinion here. You think it was lost at Radcliffe. For me, it was Kings Lynn, because we knew what the equation was. We knew if we won the last 3 games, we would win the league. Do you think there'll be any hangover from that? Do you think the occasion got to them that day? And is there that little bit inside you that says it might happen again?
Oh, 100%. No, it's non-league football. It could easily happen again. All it takes is to come off somebody, a deflection, a bit of bad defending. You just never know. But look, Kings Lynn was poor. There's no denying that. Even the most optimistic United fans, the league was lost that day officially. But obviously, we've had lapses throughout the season, which obviously left to us. But it was terrible, and they just really did for us. Like I said on my podcast, it was very Chester-esque when they came to us, and we really just weren't up for that game or the occasion at all. Look, let's hope that doesn't happen on Saturday. I feel like it's going to be hard with a full Glanford Park. We will get behind the lads, whether that's even going 1-0 down. We've got enough attacking quality, whether that's White or Cowan, to get the job done. So, yeah, look, the league to me was lost before. Your Radcliffes and your Kings Lynn's were vile.
Paul Walker, love this from Paul. He says, just get amongst it up the iron. Chris Jackson says, no nerves at this level, just pressure. We simply have to get out of this division ASAP. Well, Gareth, let's stick with that one because we have all different opinions on this podcast. We entertain it all. Do you subscribe to the belief that we have to get up? I mean, I'm not sure I did at the start, but the longer the season's gone on, I do.
As I've just said, we've got to get up this season. If we don't get up this season, we're not going to go up next season. With Moneybags Macclesfield coming into it, I just think they'll throw more money at it, and they've got a great squad of players as well. In all fairness, so I do think that we've got to take this opportunity with both hands, and let's get up.
Let's get up, baby. So said Debs. Gary Lundy's been in touch, and he says, "I'm trying not to think about it too much. If we do it on Saturday, then maybe, just maybe, I'll allow myself to dream." Sean Marshall has been in touch. Sean says, the fact we lost at home last season, will that come into play or will we be stronger for it? Will there be any complacencies, Marco?
You'd hope not. But would demand that, I feel.
Do you think there will be a hangover from last season? Or is that, I mean, that's a year ago. That's ancient history, right?
No, not at all. Look, last year, there's no secret to what was going on behind closed doors and off the pitch. I'm not saying that had an effect onto the pitch, but look, this year there's no excuses. We're good to go. But we'll have that drilled into him. I know there's a few players still at the club who were there last year, but look, it's a completely different side. We're a different animal this year at home, defensively. Obviously, getting 5 last week, really positive. The pitch is looking a lot better. I've been told it looks even better at a minute, so there's no excuses.
It's gone from desert to jungle in about a week.
It really has. And look, we're not complaining. Just in time for it to get absolutely trampled to death at the Stadium Weekender.
Seguin, where's Tyler Denton? His way through the reeds.
You just take a left away. If you just follow Tom Zanetti rapping, if you just take a left at the trees. But really looking forward to it. This should not be a hangover. There's no excuses for Saturday. Look, football's not a given. It could be any result, but they have to put in a performance. 100%.
Matt Johnson's been in touch, who says, no nerves. It should be a good day with great atmosphere and 2 teams going for it. The best team will get promoted. And at home, our fate is definitely in our own hands. Well, I envy you, Mark, because I have to be honest, I am racked with nerves. I'm very optimistic. I probably haven't felt this optimistic, Mark, since any game I can remember. I know I'm going to this will get clipped and I'll get levered. It's just inconceivable to me that we don't end up victorious at the weekend. Like, I've just convinced myself, I've sold myself the dream, Marco.
I'm clipping, man. What a stupid thing to say. Absolute idiot, man. Look, it's not a given. I mean, look, I'm going to mention it later. The Chorley are a good side before the final. Do you know what I mean? There's two legs.
We will preview that game after we've got through the fans' question. So just hold that thought for now.
Can I just jump in as well?
Go for it, man.
Just about the nerves. I'm also nervous, but excited.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I'm not.
But when others are saying there's no nerves, I'm thinking there's got to be something.
Yeah,
got to be something.
No, I'm very nervous. I will be.
I've been snappy all week, Marco.
Yeah, and that's you are a diva, though. That's any week, playoff week or not, you are.
So imagine how bad it's been this week.
Oh, yeah, full diva mode, full.
It's been bad. I really got to throw a temper on Sunday when my rider wasn't there at a show. You know. Where's the M&Ms, guys? What's going on here?
Why are the blue ones in here?
Decided to walk out. Where's Barron gone? He was
No,
saying
look,
something about the playoffs. Then.
it'd be weird if the players aren't nervous. It'd be weird if the fans weren't nervous. It's a big occasion. This club, it's not a National League North club. Nobody can say it is. They're just not. So not to be remembered as the team that sort of broke the curse with the relegations that we've had over the years and got it over the line and got us back onto the right track. They go down as immortals. It'd be fantastic. So
Alfie Beeston's just there going, "Fucking hell, please, lads, can I turn it around?"
It's like I'm due a win. God. Is it Ramsdale he just keeps getting in the Premier League? Beeston's got a really tough job. He's like, I'm not bringing these chairmen in. It's not me. But yeah, look, it'd be weird if we weren't all nervous. The players will be nervous, but look, let's turn them into a positive performance on Saturday.
Quick one from Jody Hitchens. I don't know the answer to this, guys. You might. Will it be on DAZN? Does anyone know? It will be. Marco says yes.
All the playoffs are on. They've actually put a package together as well. And also the final will be because it's on a Sunday, so there's no 3:00 blackout shit.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I won't reply to that, and I'll say to Jody, we answered this on the podcast, so give it a listen. You see that, Marco? One extra listener always thinking me, mate.
We've got to listen to get what we want.
Nick Bell's been in touch. Love Nick. He says, I'm feeling more confident than this time last year. I think the players will be right up for it. It's just like they were against Chester. We'll run through Chorley 4-0 iron.
He's been.
Is that you?
He's absolutely been listening to way too many of our podcasts. I think Chorley will be tough. I do think it will be tough. I'd be interested to see what Gareth thinks because obviously their place was a bit reminiscent of Saturday's boxing match. It was just back and forth, and it was two teams throwing punches. So look, Chorley will be really tough. Look, I hope Nick's right and we do run through him just for the nerves. It'd be nice to be 2 or 3 up at half time.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. And look, imagine the atmosphere in that stand. But no, I think it's going to be very tight, very edgy. A Chorley full time? I don't think we are ever.
No.
So look, it's going to be a tough game for them, but they'll be backed, and it's going to be a really, really tough one.
I love, if it goes so well that for the last 10 minutes we're just doing OAs. That's like my dream. That is my absolute dream.
Yeah.
Tim Bell. Yeah, Tim Bell's been in touch. No nerves whatsoever. If we don't do this now, we never will. I'll be honest with you, Tim. You're giving me mixed signals there, mate. But then he says we will smash Chorley. Paul Taylor. Yeah, surely not. But there's such a sense of giddiness, excitement here, isn't there? I don't know. I cannot remember when I'm like a kid in a sweet shop or something.
It's just persistence now, and
forget that, mate. It's about the Olays.
What worries me is when we had 3 games to win, it was in our hands, and there was Max saying, "Look, it is in our hands.
Yeah,
we can stand up to the pressure." We're all like, we were planning our days out for National League next year, and look, it's hard. It's easy to not get carried away. Which is what I think you're definitely doing right now, Barra.
Yeah, maybe. Paul Taylor says, it's going to be a great day. Shame I can't get down for the game. David Horton says, apologies about that. He asked how we could get the pictures from the post I put on Facebook. I'll get back to you on that one day. So let's have a talking point from Tom Hill. So I quickly go to WhatsApp here. Seamless podcasting this. So Tom messaged me and he said, point of discussion for you on the podcast, mate. If we do get to the final, would you restrict away allocation as much as possible to give us the best home advantage? Gareth, that one's definitely in your ballpark, being such a smoozer at the club.
No, I wouldn't.
Take the money. Take that dirty money.
Take the money, get a big crowd in, get as many as you can. I just think it makes for a better atmosphere as well. And in all fairness, who wouldn't want to see Wes on the front row giving some of these? Get them all.
Can you do that again? Can you do that again, just so we can see that on the full picture? You've got to talk while you're doing it.
Oh, sorry, Wes, this is for you, mate.
Looks like he's skiing.
Well, That's later.
I'll tell you what. I think Joe's one side, but I dread to think he was the other side. Down.
Fantastic.
But look, also just a side note to that. Look, we don't want to be dickheads. We'd be really annoyed if somebody lowered the allocation when if we were in the final. Football's for the fans, especially at this level. To stop people from seeing their team in a potential promotion final, to me, is just stupid when you've got that space.
Then that corner really would be naughty if it was Chester, wouldn't it?
And it would. But who doesn't? Who doesn't want that? You want that fire. You want that spark. A good away end, I think, makes the home end better. I know Humberside Police maybe won't agree, especially if it is Chester.
They're having a shocker this weekend, aren't they? Grimsby have got a crunch game at home. We've got the playoff semi-final at home. And how many will be going down to Portsmouth for a potential, relegation day?
Yeah, big day for home. Let's just hope that both absolutely go tits up for them two, and we manage to get a win.
It is open.
Can I just say though, if we do get Chester in the final, or even Kiddie, for that matter, I don't think the corner would be open.
Yeah. What for the trouble?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to mention it later. Big shout out to volunteers. They've got it absolutely spotless.
Great shout.
Yeah, absolutely spotless. It'd be a shame not to use it. And look, it's possibly easy police. You just have police on both corners, as long as there's no idiots that go on the pitch. You want that bite, and you want that back and forth between fans. So to be answered, I forgot who asked the question originally, but yeah, 100%. As many fans in the away end as you can get, because I just think it makes for a better all-round day.
It was Tom Hill. And yeah, a huge, massive congratulations and thank you to the volunteers. You can click that, guys, because they have got that corner ready. And if they hadn't have done that, we simply wouldn't have that atmosphere that we're probably going to get on Saturday. So those volunteers, absolute huge round of applause from everyone at the podcast.
It's not just the corner. They're there all the time. And job. Just cleaning the city must be so time restraining, and people to take time out of their own day, free of charge, just to help the club. I think, look, these are the people why we needed to save the club and why we're still here, and we couldn't do it without them. So yeah, huge shout. I don't know the lady's name. We put it on the fans group, but yeah, massive shout out.
Gareth, this one's from Scott Paxton, legend Scott, another great listener. He listened so good. Fantastic set of ears. He says, do you prefer the 6-team playoff system or the standard 14 one? Personally, I've grown to like this one since it's been implemented and you're rewarded on merit. Absolutely agree, if I can answer that one, actually. It is so meritocracy based. I know it doesn't always feel that way, particularly considering Boston finished 6th last season, won 3 away games and went up. But that's only the fault of us, Brackley and Alfreton, who they beat in the quarterfinal. Yes, Marco?
And look, that team that's normally getting into 6th late on in the season, they're normally in form. So to then get that game straight away as soon as Tuesday after the season, it shouldn't be an issue. And it obviously normally works out that well, that 6th actually does quite well. I'm thinking when we actually went up to the championship, we finished 6th, beating Millwall. That 6th team tends to be the form side. So look, like you said, it's very merit based. And why shouldn't it be? If you've got that 2nd place, you've earned it. I know we got a little bit lucky on the last day, but look, we're up there for a reason, and yeah, you should get there on merit.
Can I just jump in? It's 7th place.
Thank you very much. Thank you for fact checking me.
I just wanted to, let people know.
You're shy.
Fact checking me live on air. I love that. It's like those election debates, isn't it?
Isn't here, is he? So someone's got to do it.
What is it? The notes? Is it readers' notes?
Yeah.
We just pretty much live, or we're just waiting for Donald Trump to tweet. Just say, this is not true. This is not true.
We've had a message here from another fantastic listener, Aidan Wilkinson, who poses a couple of questions, but I'll go with this one because I think it's a little bit controversial, which I know is surprising for someone like Ado. But Ado says, well, it is about Andy Butler. It says, Butler gone or keep him if we win or lose the playoffs? ? That is mental. Surely, regardless of what happens over the next 1 or 2 games, surely he stays. He's a rookie manager in his first full season of a professional men's team to have finished 2nd, regardless of what happens now, Gareth. Surely it's a great achievement. It's a reasonable achievement, if nothing else, right?
Well, it is, yeah. It is. It's like you say, it's his first full season. But then am I going to be that person that says, look back at last season and finish second and, didn't do it in the playoffs and got, released. And so it's, I can see it from both sides. I will be honest. I will sit on that fence. But I do think that he will be here next season. And we will be in the National League.
Go on, Marco.
I think we should all have an app where we can vote if we want him here or not. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And maybe we could have Gareth doing the promotional video for
it. No, look, you would have to be pretty heartless for Butler to get the first promotion in God knows how long from his club. And then say, yeah, on your bike, lad. No,
cheers for that, mate. Really appreciate that. But,
you've been a right laugh.
We're gonna give Keith Hill a call.
But no, look, I do think if we did go up, we would hold our own. Just by looking at your Bostons and your Tamworths, who obviously both going to stay up. Boston have turned into prime Real Madrid towards the back end of the season. So, look, I know, but look, I don't think the gap's that huge in the division above. And if there's one thing Butler has done, it's made us a lot more stable at the back. I know performances haven't always been great and he's played around with formations, but like we said, first job in men's football, a promotion, you'd be mad to sack him. So, yeah.
Can I just jump in there as well? Mentioning Keith Hill, how salty have the Northampton fans been this week? You know what I mean? Because Bristol Rovers got relegated. We're in National League North. They're loving life, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bitches.
If we needed to do a result to stop them going up or something, I genuinely hope we would lose just to piss them off.
Do you know if we ended up getting
them, we lost 7-0.
Yeah, I am as well now. Fuck them. If we ended up getting them in the FA Cup, I think we would take a really good. There's obviously something there now, isn't there? Right? There's clearly something.
However many fans they've got, knobs.
That pitch. Yeah, anyway, right. Ada Wilco asked another one. I mean, we are tight for time, but I want to get through as much of this as possible. He's asked for a dream five-a-side team made of past and present Scunny players. You're allowed one goalkeeper, one defender, two midfielders, and one forward. As quick as you can, Marco. Give me your five.
I'm going to piss some people off. It's not Joe Murphy. Right, so I'm going to do it in my era. So obviously there's no Kevin Keegan, Ray Clements and stuff. That'd just be too easy. So I'm going Luke Daniels in goal.
Okay.
My one defender is going to be busy. It's Crozzer. I think he's taking some names. I feel bad with my midfield as well because of the learners. It's Jack Cork and Ryan Yates.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Gary Hooper at this up top. So, yeah, that's my five.
That's controversial, striker, that. That is controversial.
I know he's been knocking about this week. He's got Donny's promotion goal.
No, not that. I mean,
as soon as he took his top off, when he celebrated a scunthorpe for Donny, done.
Sorry, you said Gary Hooper.
Yeah, but you said it's controversial. You
right,
say it's not Billy Sharp.
Yeah, right, sorry, I'm with you now. You're saying Billy Sharp doesn't qualify because he plays for another team now?
Because he took his top off against us.
Okay, Gareth, your dream
goalkeeper.
Sammy Winnall will be second.
Lionel Perez in goal.
Is this like an iconic 11?
Just because, I just love his eccentricity. Matt Elliott in defence.
Yeah.
Played. Midfield, Ryan Yates. And also, current player, Alfie Beeston.
That's interesting. Okay.
He likes to drive forward. He's got good feet.
He does. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking Grant McCann played in the Championship and you're going for a man who's been relegated twice in 2 years, but who am I?
He's a Donny lad.
Yeah.
And also...
don't tell me then, on that logic, up front, it's Andy Butler.
Well, actually, Boise. No, Billy Sharp.
Yeah, good man.
So...
It had to be Billy.
Who am I? 5.
Okay.
Do you know it's really been hard done to me? I was tearing what hair I had left. Funzo Ojo. I was
thinking Funzo.
Yeah, I was so close. But look, I think it's fair to say my team's absolutely dicking Gareth. So.
Grant McCann will be the first name on my team sheet.
He was close, but he fell out with 40, and when you do that, you lose all my respect.
So where's 40 in the team? Too good. He'd make the Legends 11.
I've got a heart. I can't just destroy teams.
Okay, right. He's where?
Ballers League.
Brilliant. Trudy the dog. I don't think that's an actual dog. I'm going to say it. I really don't. But Trudy the dog has been in touch and says, how ridiculous is the prospect of playing Merthyr in the National League? Not very north. We're still stuck in it, if we're still stuck in it. No, not really a serious question, but a realistic probability. I apologise again for butchering a lot of these questions. The excitement has got to me. Nick Bell, presumably it's another Nick Bell.
There are two.
To say, it's not a question, and I'm going to finish on this one. It's not a question, more a plea to all Iron fans. Let's pack the park, make it hostile and intimidating as possible for Chorley. And remember this, up the Iron.
Oh.
Goosebumps, Nick.
You see, if I had some flares in this desk drawer, my top would be off. Honestly.
No, don't do it.
Turn into Iron Hour to OnlyFans.
Melissa's just running in going, no.
God, no.
Right. So we will spend a couple of minutes talking about the game and how we think it will unfold. But before we do that, let's hear from Chorley FC fan in this week's Spiny Camp. It's making his hat trick, Richard Scott. It's playoff fever indeed, and our guest, I think for the third time on the Iron Hour podcast, is none other than Chorley FC fan Richard Scott and podcaster, radio presenter extraordinaire.
Yeah, thank you, Barry, for having me on. Yeah, it's the hat trick for myself. I do love coming on and chatting to you at Iron Hour, potentially for the last time, because maybe one of our teams will win the playoffs. I mean, who's going to win it? I don't know. There's so many good teams in this National League North playoffs, and I mean, you could potentially see Chorley as the underdogs in all that. We're the only team left in the playoffs now with no Football League experience to our name. But I think what we lack in size, in stature, no doubt will make up in other areas of the football pitch, as they say.
Well, thank you for that brilliant introduction. We, of course, love having you on. I am hopeful that this might be the last time, barring an FA Cup game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Come up the following season.
Yeah, maybe. So how are things at Chorley? Because momentum is a huge thing in football. So for us getting that second place on the last day of the season almost feels similar to making the playoffs on the last day of the season. What's the momentum like at Chorley?
Yeah, it feels good. They've came off the back of the regular season with 2 5-0 victories. One of them was against Rushall Olympic. The week before that, the Easter Monday, they beat Radcliffe 5-0, which is always a tough game against Radcliffe just because of who the managers are. You know, I have a lot of respect for Anthony Johnson and Bernard Morley for what they've done in football. Yes, I know people will see them on the Salford City documentary, and they will have their preconceptions. But just touching on them very quickly, I don't think them preconceptions are right. They seem decent human beings. Whenever I've spoke to them a couple of times over the course of me covering non-league football. To get back into the playoff places with 2 5-0 wins was fantastic. And what was even more fantastic, really, was the fact Tuesday night semi-final was at the Grand Store Victory Park Stadium, and rather than Chorley having to go down to the Walk Stadium of Kings Lynn, because a 4.5-hour journey just down there on a Tuesday night. I wouldn't envy the players doing that or any of the supporters. And we'll probably get in touch on it later. Chorley's record away from home this season is pretty poor, and that could come into a factor on Saturday. But being at home Tuesday night was fantastic. By all accounts, it was your typical playoff game, cagey, tense, while it was settled by single goal, and there was only one person who could score it. Mark Ellis from a set piece. We sing at Chorley, set piece, ole, again, ole, ole. And that was the case to be. A low free kick played into Cole Hall. The shot was blocked. It fell to Scott Wilson. I think that was blocked. It fell to Mark Ellis, who does what Mark Ellis seems to do best these days for Chorley. He does it great at both ends, but he scored. And I think there was suspicion of offside from a Kings Lynn perspective. But I watched the goal back about 4 times today in preparation, and you see Freddie Sass put his hand up, and Freddie Sass was playing him onside. So I don't know what his complaints were, but they managed to see out the win, and we move on into semis. Saturday's semi-final here away at Scunthorpe United.
Now, for Scunthorpe, as an Iron fan, there's the expectation, and that's followed us throughout our time in the National League North. The expectation of promotion, the expectation that really we should probably be at a level, if not 2 levels higher than what we are at.
Yeah.
By contrast, how did Chorley approach this game? Because one would assume they don't have the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it is effectively a free hit.
Yeah, you could see it like that, but surely want to be a National League club, or you get the feeling they want to. I mean, I'm going to contradict myself here. Sometimes you feel like we don't want to be a National League club. We went up in 2018-19 via the playoffs, and that's another story about being taken to the edge by your football club. We were top going into the last 5 minutes on Easter Monday. We missed a penalty away at Scunthorpe. Glenn Taylor goes up the other end in the final minute, scores, puts Scunthorpe top. Sorry, not Scunthorpe. Stockport County. So many S's.
I wish
to get through. Yeah. But then on the final day of the season, Chorley are home to Bradford Park Avenue, who had been top for some of the season. Stockport were away at Nuneaton, who were bottom and had gone down without a fight. And Stockport went and won the league. And it was another case of not another playoff season for Chorley, because I think we're second in terms of playoff appearances in the National League North, only to Brackley Town, as I mentioned before. And you thought it's going to be another season where they can't do it. But that time, they got over the line. They went up to the National League North, and they came straight back down. I mean, they were going to get relegated anyway, but the season was finished early because of COVID, and it got done on points per game, and Chorley were bottom anyway. But they went down with the most, I think it was either the most clean sheets or the most 0-0 draws of that season, and they were into double figures. It was just Chorley couldn't put the ball in the back of the net.
Just a couple of them before you go. I know we're pressed for time, but before I ask you for your prediction, my penultimate question would be: 125 tickets sold at time of recording for Chorley. We're recording this on Thursday evening. It's approaching 8:15. A bumper crowd expected, over 6,000 tickets sold in total. Any message for Chorley fans maybe thinking about going, and what is the atmosphere like for those fans? Is there anything we need to be aware of either way?
Yeah, just to any Chorley fans listening, make the journey, get behind the Chorley players. Same for the Scunthorpe United fans, these are the moments and the games that you live for as a fan. Go and support your team. It's going to be a fabulous atmosphere, no doubt, from both sides. I think I listened to Mark Oldham, who's the chairman of our supporters trust, the Magpie Trust. He was on BBC Humberside last night, and I listened to the clip of that, and he estimated 500 tickets would be 500 people will be making the journey up from Chorley. I think there's certainly one official supporters coach sold. They're well on the way to selling the second, and then Chorley away days, I'll have to give him a shout out, Stuart Taylor. I've known Stuart for a long time. He's sold his coaches out, I think, near enough as soon as the full-time whistle went on Tuesday night. Everyone wanting to get there. And
he's just there signing people up on the way out.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, Stuart. He's a force of good for the football club. He won the Clubman of the Year in the awards night held after Rushall when everyone got back on Saturday. And you've probably seen the videos of Football League clubs going to Chorley, using it as a fan zone before heading to a Football League game. Stuart and Chorley away days is doing all that. He's booking them in, getting them people in, and ultimately it's bringing the revenue into the football club. And then on a Sunday after a first team home game, or after when the club's been used by the fans, I think he and his lads are in the ground tidying it up, getting it ready for the next visit of football fans or the next football match. So, it's going to be fantastic. And I think I've heard from Mark on the interview on BBC Humber, we're trying to get a 7-foot magpie called Victor Magpie in to make an appearance on Saturday for the Chorley fans. So keep an eye out for him. In all seriousness, I do hope if it ain't Chorley going up, then Scunthorpe can get up, because I came with Newcastle Town in the FA Cup. For those who can remember that game back in September, we were looked after excellently by the football club, not only on the media. I know speak to the Newcastle Town chairman, Gavin Appleby, quite a bit. And I put a tweet out for the listeners of the radio station I volunteer on, Morelands Radio, said, what has been your best moment of 2024 back in December? And he said going to Scunthorpe and how well they're looked after.
Just before you go then, Rich, we appreciate those words, but go on, put yourself on the line. Give us a score prediction.
I think it's going to go to penalties. I think it's going to be It's going to be score drawing normal time. You look at Scunthorpe, they've got some really fantastic players. I think Danny Whitehall's back from injury. Carl Roberts is up there amongst the leading goal scorers in the division. Mark Ellis will no doubt score. He always scores. Does Chorley's centre back. I think he's 33 now. He's played in the Football League and now he's doing it for Chorley. I think he said to me back in March, this is his best season. In all seriousness, it's I know I'm going to sound boring and sitting on the fence, but it is a tough one to call. Scunthorpe home advantage. You probably used to playing in front of big crowds week in, week out, especially at home. Is that going to give them the advantage? Chorley, as you said before, is it a free hit? But Chorley, you've got the quality as well, especially in defence. Very rarely do Chorley concede. Whatever happens, it's great that there's two great football clubs contesting this semi-final.
Well, lots and lots and lots of words there from Richard Scott. I quite enjoyed that one. A very thorough insight as to what we can expect. Gareth, how do you see this one unfolding?
I think it will be a tight game. They're coming into it off the back of a good win for them late on. So I just think we'll have too much for them. The starting 11 and also the defense, not the defense, the substitutes that we can bring on. I just think we're strong.
Nobody's mentioned yet. We obviously can name 7 subs.
Yeah, but we can only use 5 now.
All right, mate, chill out. Do you think that'll favour us? I mean, surely will have Mason Campbell named as a sub, Gareth.
You would think so.
Do you think I'm going to chuck this one out there, guys? Jason Law?
Possibly.
Listen, I'm not saying I've heard anything. I'm just chucking it out there.
I think the extra 2 would be Jason Law and Luke Williams.
Yeah. So would you say Whitehall for Fishburne?
Yeah, without a doubt.
But then what about Campbell? Because he wasn't named on Saturday. He's not going to not name a keeper if you're allowed 7 subs.
Has to name a keeper. It'd be madness. And I would be very surprised.
Go on, guys. Who's it going to be?
I don't think Jason Law will be on the bench. I just think he'll stick with players that he's used recently.
You say that, but Max Brogan came from nowhere.
Well, he was at Telford.
Telford's nowhere.
And we've just lost our last Telford listenership. Thanks, Barry.
Yeah, no, he did. But I just think he'll stick with the mix of substitutes that he's been using and also Campbell.
Yeah. Right, give us a score prediction then, Gaz.
I'm going to go 3-0.
Yeah, I'm backing that up. 3-0 Iron. Marco, how do you see this one going? And also give us a score prediction.
I think it's going to be tough. I know we were talking about Evans earlier on in the podcast. You're
so boring, mate.
You said me how I think it's going to go. I think Evans has been a closer. I think it's going to be huge on Saturday. I think set piece is going to be huge with the fact they've got Mark Ellis at the back. Obviously, 13 goals from centre half. Important goals scoring on Tuesday night. It's very important. Evans and Coogan just are in him from set pieces.
Do you reckon Butler's looking at that going, wonder if Mark Ellis is still available?
Yeah, will he do a job at National League? But no, look, they need to be in and around him. He can't get anywhere near our goal. And you'd back Evans. You would back Evans in a one-on-one. So look, barring set pieces, we still know they're a good side. 3-0. It'd be stunning. I'd love it. But I do think they'll get a goal. I'm going 3-1 Iron.
3-1 Iron. Okay. So, what else have we got to talk about? Oh, yeah. Hero, Idiot, and Moment of the Week. Let's do it a little bit differently this week. So, we'll kick off with the Hero of the Week, but we'll just have one. Look, you'll see how it's going to unfold. Marco, you get to choose our Hero of the Week. Who is it?
Right. So mine's it's a double ender. It's mine.
Brilliant.
So the first one, obviously, big shout out to Southport for being Kidderminster. None of us saw that coming. And if there's one thing we all love, it's Phil Brown's Tigers. So that was good. But no, to me, a massive shout out to, I'm sure you're all aware, Ryan Ashmore is the Scunny drummer, as you all probably know him. Obviously, he goes week in, week out, and he's fantastic on the drums. But his fancy dress on Saturday of Michael Kelly, it was absolutely fantastic. Although he's been very good, I imagine there's not many Scunny fans who Michael Kelly is their favourite player. It doesn't get all the glitz and glam of your Roberts and your Whitehalls, but no, it was brilliant to see. And look, just big shout out to Ryan because he's been really good this season and definitely improved the atmosphere with Donny Road.
Love that. Gareth, what's your moment of the week?
I think it's got to be Brackley, hasn't it, getting promoted automatically and not, being in the playoffs again. Year in, year out, they're up there. And I just, fair play to them. Small little village, town, whatever you want to call it. They've done it, Good luck to them. And, see you in National League North in 2 seasons' time.
And Marco, who is your idiot of the week?
My idiot?
Yeah.
My idiot is, it's not just a week, this is going to stay for a long time. It's Eni Aluko. We've not had a chance to do a podcast since a latest bullshit of Ian Wright stopping women presenters pursuing a career in the women's game. I know she's been ridiculed and she's probably took enough hammer, but come on, I mean,
she doesn't need Marco Paliga getting stuck into it, does she?
Yeah, look, there's no bigger advocate of a women's game than Ian Wright.
Sorry, am I watching The Voice here? I'm just waiting for Gareth to turn around and say, "I'm in."
My battery's dying on my phone.
But no, look, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just added to a big list of stupid shit that she's said. And the fact that we're still giving her airtime is bonkers. She just needs to crawl back into a hole. So yeah, she's made it of a week and she will continue to be. And Ian Wright is such a good person for women's game and could only prove that. So yeah, it's bonkers.
Well, it just got me thinking, obviously, we've now lost, we've been in back-to-back playoffs, should I say. And if you do the maths, that's 4 playoff campaigns. So that's not bad. What I wanted to mention one moment of the week. My moment of the week would have been the Chorley manager saying that he really loves the atmosphere at Scunthorpe United. He says he loves the build-up, the hi-ho silver lining before kick-off. I thought that was class. You're not a fan?
I don't like that. No. Not that.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I need Gareth. I need him pinging bottles off him on Saturdays. Close enough. It needs to be toxic. I don't want him dancing along with Scunny Bunny. I want him to think, shit, these are in for it. So no hi-ho silver line on Saturday. We turn that off.
That's what he wants, though.
German heavy metal band or something, and just light the Donny Road end up. See how he likes that.
Yeah, straight into Ramstein. One last thought here from Carol Birch, who says, "Can you get Carlton to do the dance Carlton did in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air if he scores?" I don't think we have that power, Carol. I'm really sorry. Maybe Gareth does, but no, even Gareth says he hasn't got that power.
We could get Gareth to do a dance.
Yes, we could do that.
Oh, yeah. Only if he scores.
Yeah, everyone's just there going, "Gareth, why are you doing that? We've lost 4-0, mate."
My one in Gareth.
And before we get off, so thank you for listening to the INL podcast this week. We're going to leave you with this final message. So this is Spencer Pickering, who is the promoter of the Stadium Weekender Festival, which is obviously coming up at the May Bank Holiday weekend. So we thought we'd give it a few moments to talk about that. We thought we'd let Spencer kind of explain what the festival's about, where the money's going, and so enjoy that. But that's the last thing you'll hear from me. Up the iron, and I'm sure we'll see you next week to preview the playoff final. I've said it. I've jinxed it. Up the iron.
So it's been a really nice season. Thanks for coming.
Up the iron.
Come on.
Well, it's not just playoff fever this week. We're also getting excited about the Stadium Weekender, the festival coming up at the back end of May. And we've got Spencer Pickering, one of the, what would you call yourself? One of the organisers.
Organisers, promoters for the festival.
Fantastic stuff. So, how did the concepts come about? What stage did you get involved?
So, we had discussions last year. It was with one of the owners, Ian Sharp. He owns a production company, and I look after a few artists. One of them's Tom Zanetti. they reached out. We came down, met with the board, and we discussed about doing the festival last year. Timings, it was just all too close. We couldn't pull it together in time, so we just targeted this year. We continued dialogue, and then Ian and the other board members were like, let's just do this. Let's celebrate its 125-year anniversary at the end of this year. And that's pretty much how the concept came around. It was definitely Ian and Tom's fault for all of this crazy work that we've had to put in so far.
The event is obviously taking place on the back end of May. What can you tell us about the ticketing details, the dates?
Yeah, so we've got 3 days. The 25, Friday the 23rd, that's the community day. That's to celebrate the club, local talent, the best to Scunthorpe. So doors open 4:15, and the main act starts at 6 o'clock, runs till 11, and then the Saturday is a throwback to the 90s. Some big acts from the 90s. You look way too young to remember them, but Todd Terry, Barbara Tucker, Living Joy, Capella, loads of big sort of hits from back then. That opens at 3:15, starts again at 6 o'clock. We've got rides, food, street food, drinks all outside. And then the Sunday, same timings, 3:15, 6 o'clock main event, headliner, example, Bass Hunter, Bad Boy Chillers, Tom Zanetti. And that's 23rd, 24th, 25th.
What's the vibe for the different days? So if you've got families thinking about taking young ones, what would you say to them?
Definitely the Friday is very family orientated. We're looking at doing some specials for families. We're working with different organisations. They're going to do stores that's all around for kids. The Saturday, still quite a family feel. The Sunday is definitely more your headliner sort of house come down, and maybe a bit of a different demographic, sort of 16 to, I don't know, we've got some people that are coming that I think are 65, 70 plus. So, yeah.
Well, Guy and Army Gareth on our podcast still fit right in then. So he is geriatric. So
that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, it is a bit harsh. A couple of the names that stand out for me, obviously, you mentioned Example. That's probably the name other than Tom, but Artful Dodgers one I'm probably looking forward to. What day would that be?
Yeah, so that's a Sunday. Alistair, we've been friends for probably 10 years together. He gives it a really good set, loads of energy. It's just a really good, everybody on the lineup. We know them, and to be honest, it'll all just be a really good vibe on there. Majestic, loves football. He's on TalkSport a lot. Did an interview, says he's coming to Scunthorpe.
Was it the boxing? Was he doing the boxing at the weekend, wasn't he?
No, he was on with Tony Pulis.
Was he?
And talking about, sorry about this.
So he's podcasting, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so with all the lineup, they all sort of complement each other. It is a very sort of high energy lineup. Bass Hunter's probably the most chilled one out of it, but some massive hits previously, and yeah, it'll be a good night.
And obviously, there's been a lot of talk around kind of where the money's going and what this whole event is for. So, what can you tell people who are asking those kind of questions?
Yeah, so we came in this as a joint venture with the club, but getting to know the owners and sort of the plight of what the club's been through over the last, 20 months now, maybe. The owners have done amazing to save the club. So we've made a pledge as sort of operators, promoters, organisers, that any money made from the weekend is all going to be reinvested back into Scunthorpe. So none of the money will come out. So myself and the other organisers are working pro bono for the next 6 months. But hopefully this is a longer term view. This will go in the calendar every year. It'll be sustainable. It'll be something to look forward to, and hopefully it'll help the club on the path to be sustainable, where the owners don't have to put money in every month to be paying the bills.
Final question: are you letting Tom loose on the mic on the day, or?
He's on, and he will be under his best behaviour. He's had that's been a bit of a contentious point from the side as well. So yeah, thanks for that one. He does give a really good show, but it will be definitely PG on that.
Good stuff. Right, final message then before you get off, Spencer.
Come support the club, but more importantly, just come and enjoy the day. You know, something to look forward to. I'm not too far from Scunthorpe, and people I've heard say, "Oh, nothing gets put on, nothing ever goes on." This is happening, and come down, enjoy it, support the day. Tickets, you can Klarna them if need be. It's just going to be a fun weekend, and the weather's going to be like this apparently. So yeah, come and enjoy it.